So we got a really fun show this week. I'll call it kind of a family homecoming kind of a thing. My good friend Bruce Deshano here is the owner of Offshore Tackle. Said, hey, the fish are biting on Saginaw Bay. Why don't you come on over and catch some with crankbaits? I said, great. I've got a new bait to test out on them. I think you're gonna like it. Me and Bruce have went way back in the fishing industry. And I can still remember the day we went to a swimming pool, tested the little planer boards. I gave him a few suggestions, but we got a great product out of that that's still catching a lot of fish. Well, since then, Nick here has taken over the company. Lou has given some consulting advice. Ari's in the wings waiting to take over. So we got a whole family affair going here. So we're gonna go out on Saginaw Bay. Nick's gonna show us a new tool. I'm gonna show you a new crankbait. And we got 4 generations of Deshanos to help show you the next bite.
Just looking for the next bite, next bite, next bite. Just looking for the next bite. It's with
Saginaw Bay on the Great Lake Huron is by itself a humongous body of water. The bay is absolutely loaded with fish of all sizes and species.
I sense walleye.
Are we gonna catch some walleye? I want some deep fried, pan fried.
But for the midsummer time frame, it is the perfect place to catch both trophy walleye and a delicious meal for the family. The high volume of walleye and large platform for faster trolling also makes it a prime proving ground for professional tournament angler Keith Cavaius to test a brand new crankbait body.
We're on Saginaw Bay today. I fished here quite a bit, and I break the bay down into 2 parts. We have a deep water on the west side, and we have where we're at on the east side is a shallow water bay with a long slot that runs from Sandpoint all the way down to Quantica Sea, which has about 15, 17 foot of water in it with weeds, rock piles, produces a lot of mayflies and a lot of perch for the fish to feed on. And I really enjoy fishing the east side in shallow water.
You're gonna take control of the dam?
Yeah, he's gonna find out he's number 2 in this line. I'll step back here when we get close and you can get the board.
When I grab the board, just take a look at that counter. Then
We got a double.
got that board tucked back pretty good.
Second one's got one.
Oh yeah, that one's got one too.
Sneak down here.
That's you. That's you, Nick.
Keith's gonna be the net man.
Made it easy on us too.
I guess I'll be the netter. I can do that. I can do that.
Go. You get in there?
I'm good. Long rods here.
Ready?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah!
Oh yeah.
I got that one. Heck, this
Get
one's
this other
going
one.
pretty good. This one's going good.
There he is. Oh.
A little further.
I joined it again, huh?
I don't know who's the better. We'll be able to determine who's the better fisherman.
There we go.
Let's take a look at who's the better fisherman here now. Bruce, there's your fish. Very nice, very nice.
That's Dad's.
What do you got? Oh yeah.
I got
Here we go.
a nice sandwich.
So now we know who's the better fisherman, obviously.
One fish is for trophy, one fish is for food, that's all.
It's a long day.
It's a long day, yeah. That's a nice one, Bruce. You can go ahead. Just, I'd say release him over there and get him back in the water. All right. There he goes. One in the lake, one for in the box.
All right.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Catch more fish. And Motor Guide. Accuracy matters. Closed captioning for The Next Bite is provided by PowerPole, the ultimate in shallow water anchors.
So what we're fishing out here on Saginaw Bay is what I'll call basically a flat situation. Now we are fishing a little bit of a contour, probably drops from about 9 to 13, but it's not a sharp edge, very, very gradual. There are some scattered weeds out here, but basically just a big area, and that's why boards are so effective. We're actually fishing crankbaits, and the first thing that I noticed is that we could pick up the speed quite a bit. That's fairly typical in the summer with these warmer water temperatures. We've got anywhere from the mid to upper 70s in water temperature, and that'll get the fish fired up and they're willing to chase after a bait a little bit more. As far as baits that we're using just a straight number 7 flicker shad. It's got plenty of fish. It seems, especially in anything with purple on it, has been very, very good. But one bait that's just really started to shine is the new jointed flicker shad. This is the number 7. This bait is going to have a little bit more action. Now, a lot of people would think that's just a summertime phenomena, but we've actually been prototyping this lure since April, and it's been catching fish the whole time. It's got a little bit more of a snaky action under there. It's got a great rattle system in it. It comes with nice big hooks on it. One thing I will talk about on this jointed one is that the colors that you might see us catch fish on right now may or may not be out. This is a prototype, so the final colors haven't been decided yet, but we have been catching them on all different colors. Fire tiger, this one here, a white one with a red tail, they're all doing fine. So right now I don't think color is as important as that action. So when you're out here on this flats, the other thing to think about is where you're fishing. We are catching a few fish down on the bottom, but we've really found that right in the water, middle of the water columns has been the best. 50 to 60 feet line out of 10XT. If I go to my precision trolling app at 50 feet out, that's going down about 8 foot. So even though we're fishing, fairly shallow here, we're still fishing suspended fish. So get them speed up a little bit, get those baits a little bit off the bottom, look at running those flicker shads and jointed flicker shads. You will catch fish in August on Saginaw.
With the area that Keith, Bruce, and Nick are trolling being basically featureless.
Not a monster, but it's the right color.
There, it's the right color, and we got another one going on the outside board again.
I'm getting tired of these.
Having a planer board spread traveling at 2.5 miles per hour allows them to cover a great deal of water as they search for roving suspended walleyes.
Boy, good pullback.
Yeah, he's got some weight to this one anyways.
Enough weight you're going to make it around there?
Yeah, I think it's going to pull right out of the spread for us.
But we're easy to please, aren't we? Give us a few walleyes, a couple sammies, some boards going back, some flags going down.
Nice day out on the bay.
Board's knocked out of line. I like it when the boards come out of line.
Oh, that's got a nice thump to it.
Looks decent, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it surge real hard like a sheephead.
Nope, just got a nice steady pulse to it. Good so far.
Look at how straight down this thing is sitting. You know what? This has got some good weight to it. That definitely is a good one. Bruce, can you hand me that net up there?
Sure will, Keith.
I'll just stand right up here and get the second half of my job done here. Kind of move back here by me, Nick, so we can get back in here. And
Yep. There he is. There he is.
Oh, it's a big walleye.
That's a nice walleye.
Get him closer,
Ready?
Nick.
Get him, Keith. Yeah.
All right. Good fish. On the jointed. On the jointed.
Right.
We will take it. It's a new prototype lure. You guys are some of the only ones in the country actually that have fished it. By the time the show's out, hopefully it'll be out. But
Boy, it's been working.
it seems like, especially in the summertime, a lot of times if you go to a little bit higher action like that, the fish are more aggressive. I mean, we're moving pretty fast. We're 2.5, 2.7 miles an hour.
It's got that nice erratic action to it that just seems to trigger them when they...
Yeah, just that, and all of a sudden kicks out and stuff, and this is what you get. Boy, it really does show you that Saginaw is coming back nice, isn't it?
It is nice. There's a lot of fish, and it's nice to get some big ones like this once in a while, and there's a lot of big fish around.
Well, we're going to let this one go back and make some more big fish.
Sounds good.
Get you back in the water. Oh, nice turn and go.
Well, one of the most important and often looked aspects when we're fishing crankbaits is a tuned crankbait. By tuning it, if you put your bait in the water and it goes off to one side, you need to bend the eye back the opposite direction to bring it so it runs nice, straight, and true. And that's important. It gets the depth curves are accurate that way, and then the right action, which is intended for the bait. Typically, we've always used needle nose pliers, which work, but they can tend to scrape the bill up if you really got to pinch them hard, and it's easy to over-tune, and then you break an eye and the bait's junk. What we're using now is we have the Easy Crankbait Tuner. It's a tool designed just for tuning crankbaits. There's two aspects. There's the tension knob and then the jaws. The tension knob, you just simply twist it in to adjust the tension on how much the jaws pinch on the eye. And that click is what gives you your tension on the eye. You put the long part of the tuner on the bill and the short part on the eye. And you put it on the eye, and you give it a little squeeze it until it clicks, and then that leaves the jaws open. And you want to remember to close the jaws back up every time. Put it in the water, give it a nice hard pull in the water to see if it goes. It's that simple. It's a nice soft nose on here. You're not scraping up your bill, and you got nice easy adjustments, and you can just dial it right in. It goes nice, straight, true, right behind the boat.
Real-time fishing information from all the pros in one place at walleyechatter.com.
Rod technology is constantly changing. This is the Walleye Angler series of rods. It's been around for a long time. And the reason that it has is because we've always built rods specific for the walleye angler's needs. This is actually a 4th generation series. This rod series has more models this year than it's ever had before. We have a brand new 9.5-foot trolling rod that's not 2-piece, it telescopes and fits in your rod locker when you're done fishing at the end of the day. This rod here is a little sweetheart. It's become my favorite little shiver minnow fishing rod and small jigs. It's a medium light, extra fast tip, and it's only 6'3" in length, but it's an amazing rod to fish with because it's so lightweight. We're using the same type of blanks that are in the Carbon Light series. If you're familiar with Bass Pro's rods, you know that's one of the highest end rods they have. We've lightened up the eyes compared to the old Walleye Angler series. We've made an improved handle situation. Overall, the rods are very lightweight, extremely high-tech, just like our fish. We evolve in how to catch them. You need to have technical equipment to do a really good job, and this Walleye Angler series will not let you down.
One of the fun aspects of fishing in Michigan here is that they allow you to fish with 3 lines. So Bruce and Nick and I are going to talk a little bit about how to run multiple boards and be real efficient walleye fishing. One of the first things you want to look at is your rod holder setup. You'll notice that I've got them spread out alongside the boat. My front rod goes to my outside board. My back rod goes to my inside board. But you'll also notice the rod tips are spread out. High and straight out on the front rods, slanting down more and more and slanting back as I go back here. That spreads out those rod tips and helps spread those boards.
Speaking of spreading boards, one of the important things is to have a good ballasted board with weight and a good float so that it doesn't drag to the back of the boat. It goes out to the side. Then once you get it set, you need to get it in the water quick and run it out on the clicker so that you can set another board. Because when you're getting 3 or 4 rods out, you want to get them out as quick as you can.
Now once you got your board in the water going out to the side, you want to maintain an even spread between all the other boards that are out to the side. That'll help with tangles, and it'll also help spread your lines out in the water so you cover more water for what we're all looking for is more fish bites. We're using today the tattle flags, which really helps with fish bites of some smaller fish. When you get a fish, it pulls on the bait behind you, the extra weight, makes the flag go down. You see the flag go down, you know you got a fish on.
Nick mentioned a little bit about tangles, and there's a couple other places you can get tangles and ways to prevent that. First of all, if you let your line sag at all, you know, go limp, you're going to have another board run over them. And that can happen, first of all, if you're not trolling with the wind. So always try and troll with the wind to keep things tight. But the other thing is if you make too sharp a turn, things are going to go slack and you might get tangles. And then the other place that's real important is when you add a fish on, especially one of the outside boards, there are things you have to do to get that fish in without tangling in the other lines. So let's talk about a few of those. The first one and the easiest one is if you get a fish on, say, your third board out, just simply reel in those other two lines, set the boards on the splash well, and then you can reel that fish in nice and easy. But there are a little bit more complex ones.
A couple other ways to bring in a fish when it hits the outside board is first thing you have to do is read the board. If the flag just goes down and it doesn't move, in that case, then you have to free spool the inside boards, let them drop back, and you bring the fish in front of those boards. If it's a heavier fish, it'll just pull the board back out of the spread. And you just let the fish pull the board back out of the spread. It'll drift behind the boat. Sometimes you crank it a little bit, give it a little extra speed, and that fish will pop up on the surface. You can bring it right over top of your other lines and then bring it right up the back of the boat and net the fish.
So running multi-board spreads can be a little difficult at times, but I think if you use some of these tricks and techniques we gave you, not only are you going to put your baits by a lot of fish, but you're going to catch a lot too.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Catch more fish. Lowrance. Find, navigate, dominate. Motor Guide Trolling Motors, engineered for anglers. Strike King. Legacy of domination for 50 years. And Power Pole. Swift, silent, secure. Hot topics, leading information, and tackle and techniques to make you a better angler. Presented by Mercury.
Battery management is something that anglers or even just boaters really take for granted until they get a dead battery. And one of the things that we're really excited about that just came out is the Power Pole Charge System. It's the world's first bi-directional power management system. Big words. What does it actually mean? It's a really cool system in the fact that one charge box, one charge system, will replace all of your onboard battery chargers. So you can plug it in just like you typically would. It's going to charge all your batteries. But one of the things that you also see is that one charge box, which does way less than a typical 3 or 4 bank charger and take up less space as well, is that when you're actually in the boat, when you're fishing throughout the day and you have that motor running where it's putting power into your 12-volt cranking system, is it will actually stabilize that and send power over to your 36-volt trolling motor system. So it's going to charge not only your cranking battery, but also maintain those levels and even those out in that trolling motor. So when you get there, you're always going to have the power that you need. Now, when you're plugged into shore power, it does the opposite. It's automatically going to first charge those 36-volt system in your trolling motor and basically send that power the other way, evening everything out. Throughout the whole day, that charge system is going to work for you and make sure that everything is even, that you're never going to run out of either your cranking power or your trolling motor power.
Whether the walleyes were coming in on regular flicker shads or the new jointed ones Keith is testing.
Look at that. He's got both of the lures here. He's down in the bottom here with 1 fish, 2 lures. That'll work.
Saginaw Bay is perhaps one of the easiest and most productive places to test your metal, with a full planer board spread, thanks to its gratuitous size and numbers of walleye.
Fish with teeth. Fish with teeth.
Even though, for this bite, they are free-roaming schools.
You guys don't want to take it, You're all looking like, I think, yeah, that looks like it. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I already got the rod, guys. All right? That's the way
I was watching it. I just
drop
didn't.
them back, Bruce.
Okay.
This actually feels like a darn good fish, boys.
Looks like it pulled it back pretty good.
Yeah. I think he pulled it back so sharply it slid that release a little bit. That's all right. The weight of the fish has got that board just torqued back. They're coming up to get it. They might be on the bottom, but they're coming up to get it. This definitely feels like a good one. Let's shuttle them over here.
Yeah. Sun come up, the water laid down.
Just put them right back in the rod holders. There we go. We are ready. You gonna be board man, Nick?
I can get it off for you.
This is a good fish.
That's good.
It's a good fish, boys. It's a walleye. It's a good one. It hasn't surged like a sheephead at all. Oh, we got a little weed on the board. He hasn't surged at all.
Here he comes.
Little salad with it.
Yeah,
look at
a bit.
how he's staying down, Nick.
He is. There it is.
Nice.
Get the board off.
Boy, he is staying straight down.
Get the net for this one.
Definitely netter. This is definitely a good fish. You just know them better ones because they just hang down there and they're just kind of bulldogging. Smaller fish, just the reeling will make them come up, but bigger one's got enough power to push himself right to the bottom if he needs to.
Oh, yeah.
Nick, get this fish in the boat.
There we go. Oh, they come off in the net again.
Perfect. That's perfect that he came out. Look at this fish.
Oh, man.
Oh, what did come on? Look at there. The old jointed. People are gonna like fishing that one, aren't they?
Oh.
We almost took that off.
We almost did, but that's going to be a great bait, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a nice bait.
There's only a few around now, but look at the fish we got here. Now, is it a monster? No, but it is a great fish, and it just shows you that Saginaw Bay is coming back.
Yes.
You can come out here right now and just literally catch tons of fish. I mean, it is fun fishing. The boards are always going back, the flags are always going down, but then you never know when a nice big one like this comes in. And you get to really experience some of the Saginaw old, and it'll be coming up new now. So, great fish, very nice. Appreciate you guys having me out.
Thank you.
I love fishing Saginaw Bay here. This is bad boy back in the water. All right, thank you very much for the good fight, and goodbye. All right, boys. Usually I'm the one running the boat, but when you got two great trollers with you, you're stuck putting the rods in the rod holder. That's me today. So one of the keys to crankbait fishing is obviously finding exactly the right color. I've actually searched my box and found it. The problem is my organization has kind of went to crap. A few colors of flicker shads. And of course the one I wanted was in the last compartment I looked for, right down at the bottom. So I got a little work to do. That's great. That specimen, look at that beast. I mean, it's a top line predator. It's a ferocious eating machine. The Walleyes sheephead.